Hi everyone, I'm Monique Jacobs with Open Gate Quilts. Welcome to our Thursday night live. Remember, we're on every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time. If you miss us, you can always check us out on our Facebook page, Open Gate Quilts, and you can see past past videos of what we've been doing. Also, next week, we are going to be doing Wednesday. Now that I just said, of course, that we're doing Thursdays, we're going to be doing Wednesdays because Mark and I are going on vacation. Yay! We're getting away from this cold, nasty weather to something a little warmer. So we will be doing Wednesday. So make sure you tune in at 7 Wednesday. If you miss it, you can always look back, like I said, on Thursday or Friday or whatever day you want. And then the following week, we are going to be doing back to Thursday, and I've got a couple things coming up. This coming Wednesday, next Wednesday, we're going to do a quilt with Maywood Studio that I designed. That's awesomely cool. I'm going to show you how to put it together. It's kind of a kaleidoscope looking quilt. So I'm going to be doing that, and then the following Thursday, once we're back from vacation, we're going to be doing my block from the Splendid Sampler 2. So I'm going to show you how we put that together. So we've got a couple things going. Last week, as you saw, I was by myself, lonely. Bad Mark wasn't here. Say hi, Mark.
I'm the bad Mark.
Say hi, Bad Mark.
Hi, Bad Mark.
He's here today to help me. It's like I was saying, it's not as much fun without him. But we did it, we got through, and this week we're going to show you how to do, put that house block together. And if you look in the back here, stand up. Crystal is eating a Kleenex because that's what she likes to do. Couple things. This quilt is a free pattern on my website, so go to www.opengatequilts.com and you can download this pattern, and you can do whatever you want. So it's the
is it free?
It's free.
Everybody loves free.
We love free. So this is a free pattern. Oh yeah, what did I forget to tell everybody? To like, follow, comment, say hi, share, all those fun things.
And most importantly, folks, we need you to start sharing our page with your friends.
Yeah,
so
share.
Tell your friends all about our page and invite them to like our page.
Yeah. And so make sure you do that. This is free to anybody, so anybody can download this. There's a couple free patterns. There's this one. There's the tree skirt that we did before Christmas. And then there's also the table runner that is out of Coastal Chic Boutique. But this one I wanted to show you because it is House Week this week. This is called Amish Homes, and I chose to call it this because of the black background. And basically you've got tall skinny houses and short little fat houses. With the different houses, it tells you how many to make of each color. You can do it in anything. A couple of my friends did it one friend did it in Christmas. Looks fabulous, love it. She's got it on actually made a table runner. My friend Katie made a table runner and put it on her table, and she even puts it up, not even at Christmas time, she puts it other times too, because it's not super Christmassy, but it's really a cool thing. So you could even do something like that. Just do one row of the houses, or add some houses to make it even larger, depending on what size you want it. But this is a great quilt because it's really very simple. It's basically strips. So you've got little pieces, you sew them together, and then you've got one long piece between it. And then the only triangles are flip corners. So very simple quilt, but it's a fun one to make. And like I said, you could do it in almost any colors. So that is called Amish Homes. Remember, that's a free pattern. Now, this is what we've been working on the last couple weeks. This is called Home for the Harvest, and this was designed by Carrie Nelson, and it's in American Patchwork and Quilting allpeoplequilt.com. So if you're looking for the pattern, go.
Like Carrie.
We love Carrie. Carrie's awesome. Go to allpeoplequilt.com and look for Home for the Harvest. You can download the pattern and it's free, so go ahead and do that if you're interested in doing it. Last week we did the template pieces. We cut those out. I showed you how I did them with freezer paper. So this week I'm going to show you how to put this together. The inside of the house, the windows and the door and this part and the chimney are very similar to that and not really difficult. You just do your pieces, sew them together in rows, add this to this, this to this, and then you do your door the same way, and then add a piece up here, and then add a piece to your windows in here. So that's how you do this. No triangles, nothing really complicated here. And this is just, again, the strip going across there. So very simple. So I actually did the pre-sewing on these pieces, so because they are just straight sewing, so you don't have to, I don't have to take the time to do that. But I am going to show you how to put the roof together, because that's the more complicated part of putting this block together. Now I have this laid out just as a straight set, and I don't have any sashing, but I talked about last week maybe of putting some sashing in and maybe putting cornerstones or something. So when after the next couple weeks, when we go through the next few things that I'm going to go through, we'll might revisit this and play with a little different settings so you can see how to do it. So I loosely followed her pattern. I did use the schoolhouse block, but I changed it a little bit, and I'm not going to set it the way she did. And I wanted to tell you, last week my mom pointed this out to me. She said everything was backwards when the video was done, and the reason was because I had the camera facing me and it was reversed. So I don't know if you noticed, but the open gate was backwards, and every time I said the right side, it was actually the left side. So hopefully you followed that and figured out that it was the opposite of what I was talking about. And if you look at the pattern, you'll see what I mean by doing the reverse side. So hopefully that'll be clear to everybody. Do you want to see if there's any questions, honey? And I'll, whoop, careful. We got cords and stuff going all over. We got to be careful. And dogs, of course. So I'm going to sit down and get ready for this. So remember to make sure that you tell me where you're from and comment. And one of the things that I forgot to do last week, and all the kerfuffle, is I forgot to give the free pattern. This was the free pattern I was going to give away to one lucky winner. So now this week, 2 lucky winners, because I missed last week. But I will take from last week too, because that's not fair to the people who commented. So 1 from last week, 1 from this week, and you get the garden path.
So that's all sorts of free stuff going on. Now
Lots
you
of
get
free. This free pattern.
one. You might have a chance to win this one.
That's right. And remember, I am quilting the quilt that I made for our bed using this pattern in the blacks and the creams, and I will have that hopefully next week to show you. It is on the Sue's long arm right now waiting to be quilted, so I have to get back over there and start quilting it. But anyway, that's the free pattern. I wanted to make sure that you knew that. I'm sorry I forgot. Just busy week last week. All right, another thing, here's our pattern. That's the Home for the Harvest. And notice what, remember I told you last week, if you didn't see, they have the small little houses plus the bigger houses. I did not do the little houses, I just did the big houses. And also I did the positive and negative, and I showed you how we cut those. So if you have questions on that, you can go back and look that video over and see how I cut those and how I use the freezer paper. So another cool thing about this pattern is that it does have all your sizes on here, so that you can lay your pieces out and know exactly where they go. Now notice that I put some different sizes in here. The block size came to 9.5 by 10, and I wanted it square, so I just added a 1/2 inch on my chimneys. Now it's totally up to you. That's what I did. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I did to make my block square. So
Where can people find that great design?
it's on allpeoplequilt.com, and it's Home for the Harvest.
All right.
Okay.
So go check out their Facebook page and their
Yes.
Instagram, because they have great tutorials there as well.
Yes.
Lindsay and the gang over there do a great job.
They do an awesome job. They do great tutorials. They did one tutorial before Christmas on pressing, which I thought was excellent. They've been doing some really cool things. So, and they always have some awesome things coming out in their magazines. Case in point, our little dog bed, and of course Tilly, you gotta show Tilly, at least stepping on it. It's like, I'm just gonna hang out here. Zed's like, forget it, I'm out, but Tilly will hang out with us. So that's what we're gonna do. So why don't you did anybody have any questions or?
They just want to know if it was a free pattern, but you know.
Yep. They both are free patterns.
Everything's free today, folks.
Yep, everything but the 2 lucky winners get the garden path.
Right.
But this is free, and this is also free on All People Quilt website, so make sure you check that out. And they have a ton of free patterns. So if you're looking for something really cool, check out allpeoplequilt.com. They really do have some great old patterns. Sometimes they'll take things that you're like, oh, I saw that in a magazine, and it'll be on their website, and you can go ahead and use it. So I've done that several times. All right. So let's do our roof of our house. So if you see here, come over. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
All right. See, what I did was I made sure I did my chimneys in the background, and I sewed those together. I sewed my house part together because I didn't want to take the time to do it again. I just sewed these together, and I added this one on, added this long piece, sewed this together, added that and that. And the instructions tell you how to put it together. So if I'm going fast and you're not following, don't worry, the instructions tell you everything. But I just wanted to show you that I had put that together because I want to show you some tricks on how to put your chimney onto your roof and how to put your roof onto the body of your house. So one thing about template piecing is that you really need to know what your 1/4 inch seam is. You really need to know where your 1/4 inch, and I do pin when I do this, and I usually don't mark it because I've been doing this long enough I can really tell where my 1/4 inch is. So it would be a 1/4 inch going this way and a 1/4 inch going that way, and I'd put a pin right in there. If you want to go ahead and mark it, go ahead and mark it. That's really up to you on how you want to do it. Then you're going to do the same thing with your blue. So you're going to go down a 1/4 inch and over a 1/4 inch and stick your pin in there. And then you're going to pin right there. You're going to do the same thing for the other side. So you're going to go down a 1/4 inch and then come back and just make sure that's nice and lined up. You're going to go in a 1/4 inch and go in a 1/4 inch there and there, there and there, and pin it. And then I'm going to sew it. So you want to come on over here and I'll show you. Okay. So when you sew, you're going to sew using your 1/4 inch seam, and you're just going to sew it. And don't sew over your pins. You want to take your pins out if you can as you go. And then you just sew there. All right. Then what I'll do is I'll take it out. Cut my threads. and then I'm going to press it. Now, pressing, I'm not sure exactly which way they have you press. Let me see if I can grab a block and see which way I pressed. That's the wrong one. Let's grab this one. Okay, so notice here, I press towards the dark. Actually, I'm over here. I flipped it. So I'm going to press towards the light. Okay, so I'm just going to set my seam. I'll quickly, oh, okay. Can you see it okay? Mm-hmm. Poor Mark. You working tonight?
Working tonight, folks.
Yep. So I'm going to set my seam like I do, and then using my awesome Aliso iron, press out. Okay? So I started on my left and I'm working to my right. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the slanted piece on here, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did. Is come on over here so we can see a little better. One of the things that I do when I do these kind of slanted pieces is I like to eyeball, and I can see from here, let me grab my scissors so you can see. From this point out is about 1/4 of an inch, and that's where I'm going to come in and start sewing. So I'm going to put my pin in there to hold it. So I'm going to put my pin just to hold it. I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. And remember, when you're working with these pieces, they're biased. So you don't want to stretch them and pull them too much, or you're going to distort them. See how very carefully I'm touching them? I'm not grabbing and pulling, because you do have biased pieces along these edges, and you want to keep them nice and straight. And then again, back to the sewing machine. And quarter inch seam. And actually it's a scant 1/4 inch seam. So you want to use a scant. And notice here where I started right where those 2 points, I didn't go here or outside, I went right in there. And let's see if I can see better on I'll put it on the green. See how I started there and I ended right there. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then you don't need to get up because I'm just gonna press it. Check my thing. And I pressed it towards the dark.
Let's see if there's any questions here real quick.
Okay. Well,
Where's the free pattern posted again?
on All People Quilts. That's for the free pattern for the houses. This house, the schoolhouse, and for the free pattern on mine, it's Open Gate Quilts. Okay.
So All People Quilt for this one, and Open Gate.
OpenGateQuilts.com
for that one.
And it's the free PDF pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to add this piece on, and again, what I like to do is I like to lay it out like it's supposed to be, and then flip it over so I know I don't get it mixed up, because sometimes it's easy to do that. Now this one is kind of nice because my little cut end, I just go right up here so that do you see how I'm just like butted up right there? So I don't have to worry about aligning it too much because it's right along here. So make sure that that goes right there. And then again, this other side, flip it over so you can see, same thing. I've got my 1/4 inch comes right across there. So again, I'm gonna pin it. And I'm gonna sew using my scant 1/4 inch. So here's the tip. Why do you use a scant 1/4 inch as opposed to a regular 1/4 inch?
What is a scant 1/4 inch?
A scant 1/4 inch is just a thread or two inside a 1/4 inch. Why do you use it instead of a regular 1/4 inch? It's because thread has thickness, and to get a perfect 1/4 inch, you have to compensate for it. So when you press it out, it becomes the correct size using the scant 1/4 inch. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. So that's why we do a scant 1/4 inch. Okay, so again, don't need to get up. I'm just going to set my seam and press it. And then I'm going to add my last triangle here. Okay, so I'm going to add, just like I added it on this end, I'm going to add it on here so it gets nice and square. Then I'm going to line this up. Again, this is where we're going to pin. So you want to make sure that you go in a 1/4 inch, and then also you're going to go down a 1/4 inch on the seam. Can you see that? So,
Try that again.
okay. So I'm going to lay this on here. I'm going to go in a 1/4 inch this way, in a 1/4 inch this way. I'm going to come out and I'm going to pin it so it goes right on the seam at a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I don't have a seam, so I'm just going to go in a 1/4 inch and then go in a 1/4 inch there. And sew that. Okay. Then we're going to press it one more time. And I'm going to cut my threads off because they'll drive me nuts. All right. And another thing you're going to want to check once you get this piece together is check to see if this should be 10.5 by 3.5. So make sure that that's the correct size before you add your next piece on. If it's a little small, that means your 1/4 inch is a little big. You might need to take some out, maybe readjust it a little bit. If it's too big, then your 1/4 inch might be a little too small, and again, just take bigger seams to make it work. Now, if you look here, I have a 1/4 inch here, so it looking pretty good. Also look at this point here. This doesn't come right to the corner, and it shouldn't, because this angle is a little different angle. This is what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have some little tails hanging off there and on this side as well. The nice thing about fabric is it stretches a bit, so when you're putting your other pieces on, if it's not perfect, you can make it work. And I'm going to show you how we make it work.
Good, because I'm constantly screwing things up.
We all are. All right. Now, if you notice, I should go and square it up a little bit. This is not perfect, and it shouldn't be, because again, we've got those angles. I'm going to show you how we make those work. I'm going to go over, go over to the cutting table. I'm going to go get the cutter and bring it over here. The cutting table has all my blocks on it. So while you're doing that, do you want to check any questions so far?
Not a problem.
Okay. We're back. Tilly's wondering where we are.
Do you use a scant 1/4 inch for all your quilt piecing?
Yes. Yep. Good question. Do I use a Scant 1/4 inch for all quilt piecing? And I do. And the reason is, again, because of the thread thickness. It gives you a true 1/4 inch when you do that. So, okay. So I'm going to make sure this is...
And FYI,
Yes.
Heather's 4-year-old says you're doing a great job.
Well, thanks, Heather's 4-year-old. What's Heather's 4-year-old's name? Shouldn't say? So I'm just gonna trim this off. It should be 10.5. It's a little big, but that's okay. Again, I'm working with my bias, so it's not gonna be perfect. Hard to cut over my sewing machine, but I'm impressed with how I'm doing that.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
I am too.
Are you? Okay. So now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this together, and let me show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this and we're gonna flip it over, and this is again where we're gonna pin. So, can you see okay? Again, I'm gonna go down a 1/4 inch into my seam. Reason I like to do that is so that I can aim my needle to go where my pin is, and I know I'm gonna get a nice 1/4 inch seam. With this, again, we need some pins. I'm gonna go a 1/4 inch from the edge. I'm not gonna go at the angle. I'm gonna go straight down a 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to go on my straight seam down a 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. So I'm gonna go down a 1/4 inch and then down a 1/4 inch. And then I'll do the last. Same thing for this corner. I go down a 1/4 inch into my seam, and I'm going to pin it. And then I'm going to sew along that edge. Again, if it's not perfect, you can kind of play with it and make it fit in there if it's not exactly right. You can kind of play with your seam and kind of fit it in, which is what I'm doing, kind of pulling it along here.
So when do you know when to use a scant and when not to use a scant?
You always use a scant.
Always use a scant? Okay.
Yep, yep. That was the question, do I always use a scant 1/4 inch? And yes. Again, it's because of the thread. And when I'm talking a scant, I'm just talking a little bit inside a 1/4 inch. Okay. And then this is the moment of truth. Do my points meet? Looks pretty good, could be a little better, but I'm happy with it. So that's how you do that one. Now with the chimneys, it's the same idea. You want to put a pin in there, a 1/4 inch here. Go down a 1/4 inch, put a pin in there. So let me do that, and I'll show you. So you might want to even pin from this side so you can see where my two seams meet. I'm going to cut those threads so you can see a little better what I'm talking about. Catch those little threads. So what's Heather's 4-year-old name, did she say?
Chris.
Chris. Hi, Chris. My friend Gail, grandson, is scared of me, and I don't know why. I don't think I'm scary, but whenever I would come to visit, this is when he was younger, he used to just look at me and run and hide, and I felt so bad. So hopefully Chris isn't like that.
So how do you determine a scant a little bit, and so it can be different for each of us?
What I would do is, okay, if you want to come over, and I'm going to show you, honey, on my machine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me see. I'm going to grab just a solid piece of fabric and kind of show you how I determine my scant. And hopefully that'll help other people.
Gotta watch her from Nova Scotia tonight.
Well, hello, Nova Scotia, fellow Canadian. Hopefully you're not having like horrible weather like Winnipeg is. I talked to my parents and they're like, we don't even go out, it's so cold. Okay. Can you come behind me?
Sure.
I just want to show, or what I'm talking about. So if you look here, on my machine, this little mark here is a 1/4 inch. And it's also on the side of my foot. So instead of putting my fabric so I can actually see it, you see how I can actually see it on the right? I move it over and I put it just so it's inside the line and inside that little marking on my machine as well. So there's a couple ways. If you have some people have like a guide on the side here. What I would do is, instead of butting it and pushing it against the side, just kind of keep it a little bit away from the side of that butt. And another thing you can do is practice, do your 1/4 inch or your scant 1/4 inch, and then measure it with your ruler. And when you measure it, the 1/4 inch should go to your thread. So it should be on your thread. That way you know you have a scant 1/4 inch, because the inside would give you that scant 1/4 inch. Does that make sense? Kinda?
Sure, kinda.
Sure. Poor Mark. He's like, what the heck are you guys talking about? And if it's not perfect, you can make it work. Don't worry. That's the cool thing about fabric. I did stained glass for a while. Mm-hmm. And stained glass does not move. So if you're not perfect, it's not going to fit.
Right.
But with fabric, it stretches a bit. So if you're off a little bit, it's not the end of the world. You can make it work. Because if you even noticed on here, I'm a little bigger on the blue and lighter on the white, but I made it work. So you can make it work. So it's not... It just gives you an idea of how you should be as close to a scant 1/4 inch as possible. If you are at a 1/4 inch and things are working out, then don't worry about it. I'm just saying most people do a scant 1/4 inch because of the thread width. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And again, some days I do an awesome 1/4 inch. And some days I think, what the heck have I done? Some days are good days, some days are bad days for sewing. So you're either on or you're not. It happens to the best of us. When you're having a bad day, I usually just say, okay, I think I'm just going to go over and do some computer work instead of sewing. But again, that's the cool thing about fabric, is you can stretch it a little bit to make it work. And there we've got the point meeting there. That's a little off. I think it's good enough. And then that's good. And then, ta-da, we have a house. So that's how you use templates. Templates are a little more difficult. They're fun though, because it's a good challenge. Practice with something that's not super difficult, like these. This isn't too bad. It's a little more difficult, but it's a good thing to practice with. If you are not sure, do a couple blocks out of scrap fabrics just to make sure that you know what you're doing and how to line everything up. practice. That's what I did when I started making stuff. I just practice. Remember, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not saying I'm old or anything. That was the hint from my husband, but I guess not.
You're not old.
Oh, here we go. Too late. All right, everybody. That's how do we do templates. Remember, next week, we're going to be Wednesday instead of Thursday. We're going to still be at 7 o'clock. We're going to work. I'm going to show you the kaleidoscope looking quilt that I designed for Maywood. And it's out of these really pretty pinks and burgundy fabrics. So I'll show you that, how to put that together. It'll be a free pattern on Maywood's website too, which is awesome. And I'm sure they will have kits if you really love the fabric like I do. And then the following week, I'm doing the my block for the sampler, the Splendid Sampler 2 that I designed. So I'm going to show you how to put that together. And then the following week, who knows what we're going to be doing. So remember, we're not going to be here next week, but we will be here on Wednesday. So and thanks everybody for sharing, liking, commenting,
inviting your friends to like
inviting
our page.
your friends.
And one more time, how to get these free patterns?
Free pattern. This one, opengatequilts.com, Amish Homes. This one is All People Quilt Harvest, Home for the Harvest. And remember to check out their website. They've got some really cool free patterns on it. And also we do too. And remember, chance to win. Two lucky winners, one from last week, one from this week, get a chance to win the pattern. So, and thanks for joining us. Quilt Find and Enjoy. Bye, everybody.